Joining us now on the program are a couple of individuals from the Farmington Players who have another season of shows ahead as they have shows all throughout the month of February where they'll be presenting Wait Until Dark from the 3rd of February. That is the first Friday of the month through February 18th at the Farmington Players. Joining us now are David Reinke and Ellie Haenick from the Farmington Players to talk about this upcoming show. Thank you both for being with us.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, glad to have you both on. And so it's another one of your shows in your third of 4 sets of shows for the 2022-2023 calendar before, of course, next fall we'll begin your 2023-2024 calendar. So 3 out of 4, this is the 3rd out of the 4th shows that you're showing over the course of this calendar year and last calendar year. Tell us about Wait Until Dark and why audiences should be excited to come see this in just a couple of weeks when it begins on February 3rd.
Well, Wait Until Dark is it's a classic drama, thriller. It was first went on Broadway in 1966, which premiered with Lee Remick and Robert Duvall. It was made into a movie in 1967 with Audrey Hepburn and Alan Arkin, and it's a fantastic thriller that has really stood the test of time and will really keep you on the edge of your seats from the beginning to the end. One of my characters is one of the con men, and basically what happens is a blind woman is her husband has inadvertently brought a doll filled with heroin back over from Canada, and it is somehow lost in the apartment, and a drug dealing con man, as well as with 2 ex-convicts who I play one of the ex-convicts, are trying to con the blind woman into trying to get the doll back. And Ellie, maybe you can tell them a little bit about your character.
Yeah, so I play Gloria. Gloria is Susie's young neighbor who lives in the apartment upstairs. And when Susie, who is the blind woman, most needs sight, Gloria kind of plays her eyes.
And you can find more information on the show as well as get tickets for their first showing on Friday, February 3rd at 8 p.m. And they'll also have another 8 p.m. show on the Saturday after that on the 4th, and a matinee at 2 p.m. on that Sunday, the first weekend of the month of February by going to their website, farmingtonplayers.org, farmingtonplayers.org. And again, the show is called Wait Until Dark. Wait Until Dark is the program. And, this is a relatively older production, having been first done in 1966. Of course, as you mentioned, David, then having a movie coming out in 1967 that tells the story, but it holds up really well between then and now, even though there's differences between the era, certainly differences between the eras when this was first being shown and today. But what about this show in particular makes this so compelling in our modern world and something that people will love to see on one of our local community theater stages?
Well, I think for us, it was something that, we all rely on our sight, where Susie has to use her blindness as an advantage to try to, figure her way out around what the con men are trying to do. And then there's just a big dramatic scene. I don't want to give anything away, but it basically, a lot of it takes place in darkness where she kind of is trying to turn the tables on the con men on there. And it is really compelling. It will keep you on the edge from beginning to end. And I think that it's something that the audience can really enjoy, and they can hopefully root for the heroine on there. Ellie, is there anything else you want to add on that?
Yeah, so something that I really, really love about the show is just how, like Dave said, Susie using her blindness as an advantage and having to throw the con men into that kind of a situation.
Yeah, and so as we're seeing this play now go into the Farmington Players, it was originally a Broadway show in the 60s, and of course was then turned into a major Hollywood film as well. And it's different when you're taking a show from its Broadway roots down to a community theater level because of resources, because of time for rehearsal and the extent of those rehearsals over time. And so for the two of you, as you and the rest of the cast and the crew are preparing for Wait Until Dark, being produced at the Farmington Players. How do you translate that big Broadway show into the community theater aspect and still, tell the story in its ever compelling way and create the scene for that audience to be seated in and immerse themselves in this show?
Oh, that's a great question. I think for us, we have to delve into the source material. We have to be able to understand what the times were about, because obviously the 60s were quite different than the 21st century and everything. Things like cell phones, things like we use a rotary phone, and who in the world remembers a rotary phone anymore or anything? Trying to rely on a payphone, and stuff like that. So it really is trying to bring together that kind of an uneasy feeling from the beginning, where you see these con men and you meet them. Then you see Susie, who is blind, and she's adjusting because she's been newly blind within the last year, with her husband. And then her relationship with Gloria, and what Gloria then brings as far as trying to help Susie turn the tables on the con men. And Ellie, anything else you want to add on that?
Yeah, something I love about the Farmington Players is the setting is so intimate. It is a very nice theater, and it is going to be really easy for the audience to get sucked in. We're actually sitting on our beautiful set right now, and I'm very excited to see what the audience thinks about this show.
And in terms of your individual characters, and let's start with you, Ellie. What connects you to your character and helps you to prepare for a show like this and to express, express her perspective to the audience in a way that you do?
Well, there's a small incident with Gloria at the very beginning of the show, and then she kind of grows a lot during the show. She becomes a lot more considerate towards Susie as the show progresses. And I think that's a really nice transition. As far as what I've done, I've worked pretty hard on trying to get in the mindset of Gloria. Me and Barbie Weiserman, who plays Susie, have worked a lot outside of rehearsals on just what our character's relationship is. And I think it's going to be a really great thing to show to the audience.
And David, same question to you as you're playing, as you mentioned earlier, an ex-con in this story that's full of a bunch of con artists trying to prey on this blind woman. It can be tough to connect with a character like that for us that aren't out here conning people on the regular. But for you to play a character of that kind of villainous nature and with that kind of a story arc too, how do you then connect with that character to pull off your acting on the stage for Wait Until Dark?
Well, for me, I try to look at what is my character's backstory. Like, we start off the show with me and Tim Timmer, who plays the character Mike. We meet each other in Susie's apartment because we've been contacted by the Harry Rote Jr., who is played by Lance Allen. And he's the one who's kind of setting up the con for us to get sucked in with him and everything. And so we're kind of trying to figure our way, but basically it's kind of, we're about greed. We just got out of prison. We want money, and we don't kind of care how we get about it. We're used to conning people out of their money, even though we've been caught before. And he's kind of Harry Rote, who is a very, very evil character that I think everybody is going to be wanting to, not have him win, but he's a very smart guy on that. So he is basically kind of getting us sucked in to this con that we have no choice but to keep participating in it. And like I said, it is, even though it's kind of a thriller, it will keep you on the edge of your seat. I think it's something that the audience will really enjoy because they'll be rooting for Susie, and especially using her blindness to her advantage.
We're joined on the show today by David Reinke and Ellie Haenick from the Farmington Players. Their production of Wait Until Dark begins on Friday, February 3rd at 8 p.m. at the Farmington Players and runs through Saturday, February 18th. So over that 15-day period, plenty of opportunities to see the show at the Farmington Players. Go to their website, farmingtonplayers.org, for more information, farmingtonplayers.org. And you can also call them at 248-553-2955, 248-553-2955 for more information and to purchase tickets over the phone as well. Farmingtonplayers.org, their website. And again, the show begins February 3rd. And there's something special about seeing a show at your local community theater that's different from some of the bigger theaters in the local area or regional theaters. Certainly those big time theaters that you see in Detroit, like the Fox Theater, or going to a Broadway show or an off-Broadway show. There's something special about that intimate environment at your community theater. For you, David, and we'll go on to you, Ellie, also to answer this. What makes that experience special for you on the other side, being on the stage?
Well, part of it is, as Ellie said, we are on our beautiful set right now, and I'm looking out into the audience where we are a smaller, intimate. I mean, small as in 232 seats, but it's there's not really a bad seat in the house. So whether you're in the front row, which people seem to love the front row, or you're all the way in the back there, there's something that everybody's going to be able to see on here. And being in the intimate nature, I think it's going to also draw in the edge of your seat thriller aspect of the show. Ellie, anything else you want to add on that?
Yeah. So something, like I said earlier, I really love about this show, which apparently there's a lot of things, is getting to tell the story. Just people being able to see what's going on right in front of them, which is a lot different than just watching a movie or a TV show. Because people being right in front of you is just an incredible experience, and you get to really feel what they're feeling.
Find more information on Wait Until Dark, as well as their other shows at the Farmington Players coming up this year and their seasons and beginning next fall and through next year as well at farmingtonplayers.org. Another way you can get involved is to go to farmingtonplayers.org also and learn more and get in contact with them about upcoming shows and ways that you can participate as well. Wait Until Dark begins February 3rd at the Farmington Players. David, Ellie, thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having us.